ELI Codes. And I don't know, is there anyone in here who doesn't know what an ELI code is? No one's going to make, okay, good. That means I have a reason to explain it. Because if you didn't raise your hand, why am I even here? All right, you've given me purpose. Thank you for that. Okay, so ELI Codes are the ultimate in-store digital engagement platform. Okay, and you're going to see about that. Now, it's launched via a QR code. It's not about QR codes, it's just how we launch them. But what's important is what happens when it's scanned, what it displays. All right, we're looking at product information, brand content, and so forth. So this is an ELI code. It looks a lot like a QR code. You know why? Because it is a QR code. But this is what happens when you put it on a shelf tag. This is what happens when you put it on a shelf talker. That's my New England accent kind of kicking in there a little bit. And this is what happens when you scan it. Okay, so by putting these ELI codes on shelf tags, we can really make that shelf edge come alive. All right, so rather than staring at the 6 sides of a package or that little tiny shelf tag that most of the consumers have no idea why it's there other than for a price, we can make that come alive. We're using our ELI technology. It doesn't require a special app. That's a really important piece. A lot of retailers are out there trying to do these types of things, but you have to download their app. Do we really need any more apps in our phones? I need less. All right, so ELI codes don't require a special app at all. All you do is you literally can walk up and scan it with any camera. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first and only smart shelf tag. We've heard about smart shelves, we've heard about shelf tags. We put them all together and we think you're going to like it. So really at the end of the day, what smart shelf tags do is turn shoppers into buyers. And we do that through engagement and education. Nice and simple. Now, Fresh Thyme was the first national retailer to launch smart shelf tags, but Jonathan will be quick to point out, this is not a Fresh Thyme solution. Okay, they saw the vision and embraced it early, but this is meant for everybody. This is for all brands, all retailers to really be able to embrace. Now again, I told you they were easy to use, and they really, really are. All you do is walk up to the shelf edge, you'll find a shelf tag there, there's an ELI code on it. It doesn't need to be huge. All right, you just need it to be big enough for the phone to pick up on it. You focus your camera, sees the little code, you click the link, and up pops content. So again, now we can put way more than you could ever put on a package. It's digital, it's interactive, all right? You can have things from product descriptions, nutrition facts, supplement facts, product images, ingredients, certifications, things that consumers crave, right? You can really go crazy with them. We're going to show you some examples in a minute. Add video, HTML content, links to your website, additional in-use images, things of that nature. So you can see how this becomes that whole digital experience. You know, when I joined the space going on 18 years ago, the first thing I learned was that our industry is all about education. Anyone disagree that we can sell more when we educate, right? We educate our buyers, we educate our shoppers. So it's all about education. So together we can sell more by engaging and educating our shoppers, the people that are in the aisle making that decision. Quick stat, and I promise I'm going to wrap up here in a second and let you hear from Rosanna. But these 2 stats really, really go through my head. 77% of shoppers use a mobile device to search for product information while shopping in a physical store. Okay, I see some heads nodding. 3 out of 4 people are in a store. Okay, they're standing in Fresh Thyme and they want to know about a product. All right, now some of it's generational, right? The generation below me and below that, they don't want to talk to people in the store. They'd rather look it up online or have it in front of them. Okay, so we got to combat that. But second, many cases, they don't believe you know the answers. Okay, so how do we address the fact that 3 out of 4 people are in store searching online? 40%, a little less than half, are looking for coupons. All right, so they're online and now they're trying to find the best deal they can. What happens if that coupon is on somebody else's product that they find? So where do they start their search? All right, if there are retailers in the room, I hate to break it to you, it's not your website. Suppliers, it's not your website either. So you're probably thinking, they go to Google, right? Not necessarily. More than half of the searches actually begin on Amazon. Okay? That's not good if you're Fresh Thyme or a retailer in general, and it's not always good if you're a brand. Okay, because it comes with inherent risks. Where are people going to land? If they're Googling, other websites, competitive brand websites, negative social media. Maybe somebody had a bad day and wrote something nasty. Maybe there's some news. Or they do end up in Amazon at a rogue reseller or competitive products or different reviews. All right, so what we really want to focus on, oh, and by the way, 25% of people surveyed admit they buy online in store. I mean, just that alone should be scaring us. So ELI helps control those product searches as well. And that's a big, big deal. I'll end on this piece. I talked about education. Educating in-store staff is critical. Okay, if the people in the store don't know your products, they're not going to sell as well. So we know it's critical, but it's difficult now, all right? With COVID, retailers don't want you in there trying to teach. And even when we didn't have the COVID issues, it was expensive. There's a lot of stores and a lot of products. And on top of that, store turnover made that even more expensive. Think about how easy it is when you have ELI codes up on the shelf. All right, now it's your in-store trainer. People in the store can go up and scan those codes and learn about those products and be passionate about them. So on top of all that, it's probably the best way to educate store staff. Okay, so for the better part of the presentation, I'm going to introduce Rosanna to come in and talk about our relationship between our two companies and how, thanks to that relationship, we have built over 120,000 ELI codes, and it's all based on excellent IX1 data. All yours.
Thanks. Hi, everybody. So at Data Council, we really always look for opportunities to add value to our members, as well as increase the usability of IX1 product data and images. So it made a lot of sense for our companies to partner in this way. So with an IX1 membership, it includes basic ELI codes for each supplier item within the IX1 network. And the basic ELI code consists of an image, description, ingredients, the nutrition facts or supplement facts depending on the type of item. And it's really a great starting place. But as Dave mentioned earlier, there are a lot of options, right? You can add additional content to these codes. So taking it a step further beyond just the basic, which by the way, all of the content is sourced from IX1, meaning you don't have to activate anything, you don't have to go in and populate it, it's all handled for you, again, as a membership benefit. Going beyond the basic to now the plus, again, it sources the content strictly from IX1, so you still don't have to do anything. It's easy to activate as well as to maintain, meaning that anytime you update a product within IX1, it will automatically update your code as well. So beyond the basic, this also includes certifications, your website, instructions, allergens, weights, and dimensions. So it really is adding to the basic. And we are talking about shelf tag programs today. So to really enhance that in-store shopping experience and to engage with those consumers, the premium ELI code allows you to add in custom information. So this could be videos, this could be PDFs, additional imagery that you might have. So outside of IX1, adding beyond that content will allow you to do this using the premium option. So ELI codes are easy to implement, as we said before, and this is true for both retailers as well as for suppliers. And with that, we're going to go ahead and transition to the panel discussion.
What is the difference between an ELI code and a smart shelf tag?
We get this a lot. When we first launched, we were all about ELI codes, ELI codes. And the ELI code, again, is that code. That's an ELI code. But when you put that code on a shelf tag, you make it a smart shelf tag. Okay, the code you can also take and put it on your packaging. All right, it's not a smart shelf tag anymore, but putting ELI codes on products, sell sheets. I mean, I'm assuming most of you guys are exhibitors downstairs, upstairs, I'm not sure where we are at this point. It's up, thank you. You're handing out sell sheets. Sell sheets are boring. Sorry, but they're boring. But if there's an ELI code on it, now you could be giving us a digital interaction about that item and giving me a lot more information, right? So ELI codes are the little codes. The smart shelf tag is when it's in a retailer store on an actual tag.
Who is responsible for hanging up the shelf tags containing the ELI codes?
When Dave and I first talked, I liked the idea, but I wanted to incorporate them actually on the tag itself. Mm-hmm. And it was incredibly easy. It's a data feed. And so, for Fresh Thyme, we work with company called Pangea, and it's, maybe it's a little bit more difficult that I don't have to deal with it, and we have an IT team that does, but we get a link from Cornerstone, it gets put on the tag, and it's on the shelf every day. So it's incredibly easy. There was not a lot for us to have to do, and they pretty much manage majority of it. So.
And it pretty much flows through your normal process, right? So
Correct.
It's your own internal people doing all that work.
Exactly. So if a new vendor comes on, it will generate a QR code, and then the next time a shelf tag is changed over, whether it's a TPR price, a cost change, or just a seasonal thing, it will have the QR code on there.
How difficult was it to create the content of the ELI code we saw on the screen?
So it's not difficult. I think, content's become more and more important over the last couple of years. Ever since COVID, more people are searching online. So any company that's out there is already creating this content no matter what. So that content's there, and you're not using it. Well, you're using it online, but you're not using it in the store. So might as well find a way to put it in the store, get more use out of it.
Can suppliers use their ELI codes elsewhere?
It's great to put your ELI codes on the shelf tags in the retailers, but I think the other big opportunity is to really leverage that content. We live in an online world, right? We live in a TikTok world, and I mean, you'd really struggle to find a shopper who's not online. So they're used to great content when you're online. So don't shortcut them when you're giving them an in-store experience. Don't shortcut your buyers when you're at a trade show giving them a sell sheet that isn't going to make a lot of sense once they leave. Right? So putting that content wherever you can, to me, makes sense. A lot of the brands we're working with are putting it on their packaging. So they're really trying to get that engagement so that the consumer sitting at home can actually interact with your brand and be more likely to come back and purchase it again. So I think it's a good
The most important thing in the natural industry is educating, the retailer on how to sell your product. Like, that is the number one thing, is the most important thing that you could possibly do. Well, when you go in and you meet with one individual at one point in time, and you even leave them with sell sheets sometimes, those sell sheets don't make it through every single person that's in that category. And then so sometimes you go with the digital mode and you'll email it out to that. Well, you email it over to the retailer, and still, same thing happens. The first person that gets it might read it, but I mean, it's just an email that's constantly going. By the time the next person comes in the next day, there's no information anymore. So if someone wants to learn about a product, I mean, you can upload this live, right? The QR code never changes, so you can every single day be uploading more and more useful information for these retailers.
That's so important. Thanks for adding that.
Should have given him that question, not me.
Sorry. But it is. That's one of the things we'd like too, is that you could change them constantly and it's still the same code, just change it
And you
around.
can try to be more innovative. Just like, you go to some Amazon page and it's more innovative than another Amazon page. Well, they're winning in that way, and you can win that way with a QR code.
All right, Jonathan, can you talk about the importance of using ELI codes to train in-store staff?
Yeah, so as Arik was just saying, we do have turnover in retail, but I think the most important thing in this industry is education. I don't sell anything. I haven't sold anything for a very long time, right? I'm in an office behind a computer now. It's a lot less fun. But the team and the interaction with the customers and the interaction with your reps or brokers, those are the ones making that connection and selling the product. So what I try to do is I want to arm my team members with all the education that they can so that they have an impactful interaction with the customers, right? So they can educate them, they can talk them through and help them find what's the right product for them. And if we have that meaningful interaction, as a team member, and I'm sure a lot of you guys worked in stores, when you help one person and they come back to you and they say, hey, this product you gave me, it really helped. It changed my life. I got my mother on it, my cousin or whatever. It makes it more than just retail, right? And that's what we do. That's the industry we're in. If it's just an interaction where you point a person to a product, you're not going to keep that customer, and you're probably not going to help them. So as a retailer, the biggest thing we can do is educate our teams. And so that was a big difference for us is, yes, it's for the customers. Absolutely. But I actually look at it as more for the team members. So when brokers or reps in the stores, yes, they can hand you a sell sheet. But when the team has time and they're walking through and they have a question on a product, they can scan it. And that's where we go for the upgraded content too, because at first we launched it, everyone had a QR code. And it has good information on it, but it's the information that's in IX1. From a customer standpoint, without the upgraded content, there wasn't education. So then we retooled it a little bit, and we cleaned up, and now every tag that does have the QR code or the ELI code on there has the additional content, has the education, has video. So it's a far more interactive program these days. So from a team member standpoint, I can rest at night that I'm giving them information.
Dave, what is the biggest objection you hear from suppliers?
You know, the one I hear the most is a concern around marketing support to launch it. I can't tell you the number of suppliers we talk to that say, I love this, but it's going to take me 6 months to rally a marketing team member to help me with this, which is why I really appreciated your response that the content already exists. You know, I mean, more times than not, people are just pulling it right off their social media and popping it onto an ELI code. And, you know, it's that I think that has been the biggest objection that we've had to overcome, is a fear that this is going to be some kind of a major project, or that they have to get it right the first time. You know, the other point about being able to change the code, I mean, I got here today, I scanned my code and realized I had a mistake in it. But I was able to fix it in just a couple of seconds on my phone. That's the beauty of being able to deploy this information so quickly, so you can be responsive. But you don't have to make a major investment to do that.
No one has an excuse that doesn't know how to use a QR code anymore. I mean, we went through COVID. Now every restaurant, their menu is on a QR code. That adoption has increased so much over the last couple of years that, like, now that you have Fresh Thyme leaning in on it, it's just an absolute no-brainer, because they've taken the chance. They're the first ones to do it. And so QR codes are going to be everywhere. Everyone knows how to use them, and people will start to see a really strong adoption for this. And you know, I think Fresh Thyme, you know, obviously I thank you guys for putting it all together, but I mean, this is really on Fresh Thyme for saying, hey, you know, we're a large retailer, especially in the natural place, and we're going to lean in on QR codes and educating our customers. Like it's a big deal, and it's, you know, it's going to be a great partnership.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Rosanna, what if a supplier is not an IX1, but wants to be, and what does the process take, and how long does it take?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that the IX1 model works, we coordinate with the manufacturer to ship us live retail product, and that's what we utilize to create our images and product attribution. So it's off of the package, off of the label. We have a really high commitment to accuracy, so we use a combination of people and technology to, off of the images, originate the information. So ingredients, allergens, certifications, label claims, again, it all comes off of the product packaging. So they would just reach out to our team, and we would get them set up so that they can enjoy all of the benefits of IX1, not just the ELI code.
Awesome.
And ELI codes are not mandatory. We highly encourage it, and we hope that they see the value of it. But being a member of IX1 is actually mandatory for Fresh Thyme, because that's where we get our images, not just for ads, but for e-commerce, to get the items set up properly. So, like, it's always a great question when you set up a new item, or you're talking to one of the category managers, and one of the first questions is going to be, are you an IX1? If you're not, I feel great that, hey, maybe we're the first to launch you, and we're doing a great job with innovation. But if you already are, it's a much easier process to get set up within our systems, and we know that the data is accurate. And if you are, I would encourage you to utilize IX1 for new item setup wherever you can, because again, they have all that. I know my forms are very difficult and different from every other retailers, but they have all the information, so utilize them wherever you can.
Awesome. Jonathan, I have another question for you. Have you gotten any feedback from your stores?
Yeah, I got some thank yous, which is great. I think it's just a new thing for them, right? So you saw what our tag looked like on there. It's not very big. It doesn't stand out. So for a lot of stores, I think maybe they didn't notice it right away. And actually this week we just launched in-store signage to tell our customers about it. Because like I said, we did some testing on it. We changed which tags had the QR codes, just the upgraded content. That takes time to do. And so once we felt we had it right and in store, then it was the time to tell our customers about it, re-educate our teams on it, because now it's about transparency and it's a value added to Fresh Thyme, right? So now we can say, yes, come in, scan. If you see that, scan it, learn more information. So I think early on, a lot of our vendors would say, well, I went to the store and they didn't really know about it. Well, we send a lot of information out to stores all the time. Sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. But now you'll actually see signage in store calling out, hey, if you see it, scan it, and you can get more information.
Eric, what would you say to a retailer other than Fresh Thyme to help them understand the benefits of the smart shelf tags?
Do it.
Yeah,
So get more vendors to do it because it's just us. It's harder.
I mean, that's a solid point. And I would say that everyone knows how to use a QR code now, and everybody's looking to educate their customers on product. So, I mean, I think that very simple is everybody knows how to use a QR code. There's no reason not to do it anymore. I think that's, in the most simple way is just saying, we want to be able to do this, so do it.
It's not our program. Again, it's not Fresh Thyme's program. We just saw it and saw that it's a great opportunity, right? It's a great opportunity to educate and train. But just like with IX1, we're not the only retailer, and the more retailers that get on board there for a brand, the cost goes down, right? So today with the ELI Codes, I know there's some independent retailers that could jump on it pretty quick. Independents are great at jumping on innovation fast, right? It's the mid to large size where it's like a bigger ship and it takes time to turn. But the more retailers that do it, then your cost goes down per store, and it's going to be easier just to get everyone as a part of the program that it's there, right? So, yeah, if you know some retailers that don't have it, tell them to call me or email me. I'd love to talk to them and tell them like how easy it is, because the more retailers that do it, the better, and also the more customers are informed. I think that's the biggest thing is the information.
Couldn't agree more.
So we started Genexa 5 years ago. IX1 wasn't, I could be wrong. IX1 wasn't really a thing that we worked with, but then you saw one retailer adopt it, and they had this at the FDM level, but it didn't exist at the natural level. And now, it makes everything so easy, because as soon as a new product gets brought into a new retailer, all the information's already set up. Same thing that I think we're going to see with ELI Codes is can we get this into every retailer, and natural will be a faster adopter.
Yeah.
And then I'm assuming that in 2 to 3 years we'll probably see this happen at the retail level. But for a brand, we got to try to push this evolution as well. If people start competing for better content, then it's just going to be like what you're seeing online.
And Jonathan, what would you say to suppliers who are not participating yet?
Again, it's not mandatory. But I think we throw a lot of things at vendors, right? That it seems like we're always asking for something, and I get it. I know it's difficult. But I really think that this is, if you truly understand the program and how we're utilizing it and what the opportunity is, it's not another ad you got to pay money for or something else. Like, it is truly getting your information, and it's only as good as you are as putting it together to the customers, right? So right now we're going through a change where we're adding some of the conventional well-known brands with the natural organic. So just talking to Eric, like, we have some of his chewable products right next to Tums, his antacid product, but customers know the brand, right? They've already done all the marketing. They've been out there long enough. For a brand like Genexa, when we put it right next to there and they have the information, the selling points are all there, the comparisons are all there. So you have to do more to educate our customers to get your brand to stand out, especially if you're in our store that has conventional, or if you're in conventional stores and you're the natural branded product, and you're competing from a different level. But it's the brands that we want to promote and educate and put in front of our customers. That's the opportunity. So I hope they see it. If they don't see it now, they'll see it down the road. But you're losing time, you're losing ground, because every time I have a customer that's going to buy that other product, I'm not changing the way they're shopping. I'm not changing the way that they're going about their own health, and that's not what we're here to do.
And vitamin managers will tell you all the time that someone's coming into a natural retailer and they're saying, do you have Tums? Like, do you have Tylenol? Do you have Benadryl? They're asking those questions, and they're saying, no, we don't sell products like that. Well, now that they're answering the question of Tums, that gives, I hate to say we're cannibalizing sales, but like that gives us an opportunity to cannibalize a Tums consumer, which we've never had before. We've pushed for a very long time in making clean medicine that we should be selling the other products as well, because it gives it it gives us the opportunity to change the mindset of a consumer that would be going to CVS or somewhere else to buy that product. We've always wanted that to exist in natural, because you know what natural cereal is like, you know what organic produce is like, but you don't know that there's a clean option for medicine. So, now that it's there, we need that consumer, and we need the help of natural to tell that story.
What if a supplier's packaging changes? How will the ELI be updated?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So we have a lot of suppliers that go through package redesigns, and whenever that happens, they always ship us the product. We recapture it. It's generally 4 to 6 weeks for us to complete that capture, and as soon as it goes live within the IX1 platform, within 48 hours, that'll be updated within the ELI code as well. So it's completely synced up. You don't have to go from one platform into another. You don't have to contact Cornerstone to say, I've got to update my item with you as well. It's completely synced up, so it makes it really easy to maintain that way.
What are your plans to educate shoppers about ELI codes within your stores?
So yeah, as we were saying, now we can finally go with like a full blitz in store. So in-store signage, blade signs throughout the department, the weekly emails that we send out to our customers now kind of at the bottom, we're calling it out. I think we might even do some header cards for end caps, included with some of the brands on there, just again to continue to get that messaging out, because we know we get new customers all the time. So there's going to have to be that continued education until this becomes normal. This becomes something that people expect to see on the tag. So we're excited to finally get that out. These guys haven't even seen the pictures yet because they're hitting stores, but definitely it's going to be about sharing that message of transparency now that we're totally aligned, and every tag that has a QR code has additional content on it.
How often can a supplier update the content on their ELI codes?
As often as you want. That's
And
the
it's
beauty.
easy as pie, right?
It really is. I don't know if anyone was in the room when I realized my ELI code was wrong and I was fixing it, and I was not even realizing I was doing it on the screen, but it literally took about 3 clicks. Everyone struggles with keeping content synchronized. I can take any one of your brands and find 10 different versions of it throughout the internet. All right, different e-commerce and all that, because it's the unfortunate part of it, right? But as long as you're keeping IX1 up to date, your ELI codes are always going to be perfect. And then you can go in and change videos. Like, take an opportunity to go look at the Genexa code that we had up there, and we can email it out to you. There's some great content in there. Some of it's coming from IX1, the image and ingredients, and so now that's always going to be right. But then you got great video, and you got website links that were pointing to comparisons, which I thought was a great approach. And so now, no matter what happens, if you change your packaging, it's always going to be right. But if you want to go in there and make modifications, if you want to be responsive to what's happening in the world around you, which, by the way, you all want to do, right? You can go in there and make that change instantly. So you can always be staying current while always making sure that your really important content is always accurate. And that's the beauty of it.
And have fun with it.
Yeah.
I've seen some brands do short little 30-second videos. Again, if you're doing like TikTok or different videos like that, you can put them on there. So that's
Instagram posts.
Yeah, exactly.
Good content that you have, you can use it in any way.
Yeah, think of the customer and what messaging you're trying to get across to them. And you're doing that already today on all your different social media formats. But now the customer's coming to you, they're sitting in front of the product thinking about, am I going to buy this, right? Let's not lose them, and let's give them the education and make it entertaining if you can. Because again, I think that will go a really long way with consumers today.
Your product might be innovative, but there is a product out there that does what your product does, right? So, for the Tums example, someone could buy Tums. They're going to get the same efficacy that they're going to get as buying our antacid product. But that's my spot to compare it right there at the shelf. 77% of people going online to read reviews. Right there, that's my chance to win their business. You don't think that your product is just going to sell itself like crazy. It might be great, but there is a competitor. There's something that they've been buying for a very long time that you're trying to get them away from.
It's hard with labor. It's hard, right? We used to have 130 to 240 hours per week, I think, in our departments. God, now I'm lucky to get 90 or 100, right? So I don't always have someone on the floor like I used to, and then that is a very tough thing for us because we do need that engagement, that interaction. This will not replace a team member on the floor. It never will. But at least there is something for them to get educated on the product, and it allows me as a retailer to have that connection, and you, the vendor, to have that connection when I don't have anyone on the floor. So that is also helpful and beneficial to us, knowing that.
You know, one of my favorite books was Differentiate or Die. You know, if you don't differentiate your product, you're relegated to a commodity. If you're relegated to a commodity, lowest price always wins, right? So if you want to be a premium brand, and in the natural space, we are premium brands, then how are you differentiating? And you might have the answer. I used to love walking the trade show and talking to brands, and all of you guys could knock out that 30-second elevator speech so great. You've practiced it, right? But when I'm standing in the store, there's no one telling me these things. So all that great information is lost. Now I'm just looking at two brands, one that I've heard about over and over and over again, and a brand I'd never heard of before that's actually better. So how are you differentiating and getting that information to me?
What excites you the most about ELI Codes?
I think it just makes the shelves blow up. There's content, there's excitement. I mean, it's not like we're going to have video screens on our shelves. It's too expensive, right? We're not going to do that. But we have more to offer now. And again, it's all about the education and engagement with the customers and our teams. And if you can do that, you're going to win. You're going to have the ability to tell the story and the mission. Because again, our customers, it's not just about will it work or what does it not have in it or am I buying. They want to know more about your brands, and your brands have a reason for being. There's always great stories, missions you have, who you're helping, why you're doing what you're doing. And that's your competitive advantage because the customers are voting with their dollars. They may not be saving any bees at home, but we've got products that through their purchases and donations are saving bees, right? So you can feel better about that. But if they don't know about it, it's not necessarily helpful. So remember, in our industry, people are making a choice to come into our store. They're making a choice to purchase your product because it's far easier to go into another store that's closer, that's cheaper, that has a product that they've heard of, and it's maybe a safer purchase for them. So that's always going to be easy. So remember that they require more information, and you've got a great story to tell. Help us tell your story to our customers.
I was just going to say, 78% of all purchases are still done in the retailer. You know, I mean, that's where everyone's still shopping. You might think that it's an online world. You know, online grows fast, but in the big scheme of things, it's not taking off. It's not knocking retail off like everybody thinks it is. So, you know, that's where you want to invest. That's also where your margin is. Your margin is in a retailer. It's not online. You know, when push comes to shove, you can still do a lot of advertising, good stuff, but doing what we can to get sales in retailers and grow awareness in retailers. That's really important because that's where brands are built. You know, I mean, our brand was built in Fresh Thyme. You know, we'd go in there, we'd educate. You know, someone would talk to, you know, and that person would talk to other people about our brand. You know, that's the way to do it. So I think it's really important, and it's a great resource for education.
That's what it was built on. I think that's what most excites me, is there are so many cool brands out there. I mean, I've been in the space for a while, and I'm still learning about new brands every day. So I think your shoppers are doing the same thing. I mean, to you, your brand is very popular because you know your brand, but there's a lot of people walking through stores that have no idea what your brand is and have no idea why they should be buying it. And this is that opportunity to really engage them. So.
As I understand it, there will be feedback provided to the manufacturer as far as how much engagement that there has been.
Yeah, that was my fault, for our stores at least.
Well, I was just unclear if it was going to come from you guys or if it was going to come from IX1 or if it was going to come from Cornerstone.
It'll come from Cornerstone, right?
It will.
Yeah.
It will.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah. So we didn't do it early just because, you know, when you're just kind of wading into things and you know you're not putting your best foot forward, you don't really want to get that out there. I didn't want people to think that it was not being utilized necessarily yet, but I also knew that we were still learning. The first time we printed the tags on there was kind of small. It was tough to read. Then we were looking at, okay, what do we do with brands when there's only one tag and we've got their smaller items? Like, how do we combat all these things? So it took a little bit of time to really kind of hone in. And again, if any retailers have questions, I'm more than willing to share what we've learned to kind of help, so you don't have to go through all the steps we did, which again wasn't that difficult. But now that I can say, okay, in store we have signs talking about this, I can say that we're putting it on our website, we're putting it on our app, we're putting it in emails that are going out to customers. Now it's not going to be like blueberries 88 cents at the top, it's going to be bottom, but I can say that we have it out there, and so I would give it a few weeks. Now that we have signage, and then I think you'll probably get a good start of, probably 10 to 15% of where we'll ultimately be on scanning, but that would come from David's team.
Yeah, that'll come from us. So if you're already working with us, you'll be able to log in, and there'll be an analytics button that'll help you to be able to see where your scans are and what's coming on.
And you'll communicate that.
Yes, absolutely.
And we're not going to we're not going to tell every person in the store or team member to go scan something just to bump up numbers. I'm not going to do that. We want to see it grow authentically and through our customers. But we will tell our team members that there is education when you see that, especially with like new products.
When it's so new, it'll just be really interesting.
Oh yeah, it's fun.
It'll be something to judge the success of it.
Yeah.
Yet it'll just be interesting to see.
And it'll be about watching the growth too. I don't even, honestly, I don't know what a good number is yet.
Right.
In this environment. I mean, we're really changing retail in our own little way, right? This is brand new. There's a lot of programs out there that people could argue, well, I can do the same program better. We're doing something completely new.
Right.
And so how do you educate shoppers? What's going to appeal to them? What's the right messaging, right? We and I were going back and forth on the messaging, and he didn't like any of my ideas. They went with their own. So if it fails, So if it fails, it's all on Jonathan, because he did not take any of my brilliant ideas.
The amount of words would not fit on a
So we needed to put an ELI code on the sign, and then we could have had a video.
Yeah.
I would also recommend as like a brand, if you have someone going, if you're lucky enough to have regional sales reps, or if you're lucky enough to, demos, I'm not sure how you're talking about your brand in the store, but have them scan it, make sure that it's working in the store.
Yeah.
Just like, you ask them to take inventory, or you're asking them to, make sure that the price on the shelf is right.
And show the team member too, like, you want to know about this? Like, scan it. It's like, it's on your shelf right now, but here, I remember the first time we were testing it, and we were doing resets at the store in Minnesota, and the president of our company happened to be like walking through. I was like, hey, you want to check something cool out? I was like, please God, work.
So he went to Genexa.
I saw it, and I scanned it, and it worked, and it popped up, and I was like, oh, thank you, God, it worked. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. He thought I was the coolest guy, and I'm all like, I'm IT and techie, which I'm not at all. So yeah, it was really kind of cool to see it work for the first time. But again, we had to we had to make some bigger, we had to make some changes. We've incorporated into grocery now too, so it's not just vitamins or body care. Anything that's UPC'd essentially that you'll find in IX1 has the ability to do that. So we've seen some growth in grocery, and then if there's other areas within the department, whether it's food service, meat, anything that has really UPC, we can do the additional content on.
Is there a fear, or maybe it's just the natural evolution of brands putting these type of QR codes just directly on their packaging? Like, I have a brand, I was thinking, instead of having all these retailers having each one on their little tags, what if I just skip that step and put it right on my packaging?
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I'm thinking
you should. You absolutely should.
But it's typically not front facing, right? So that would be the advantage on our tag or how we did it. But again, how we do it, you guys can do it however you guys want. But you should have it on the packaging, and if it's the same or if it's different on, it's up to you.
The difference is for the minimal cost that it's going to cost to get you in this program, Fresh Thyme's doing all the heavy work.
Okay, for sure. And
they're the ones that are talking about it. They're the ones that are running it. They're the ones that are, educating their retailer, their managers on it. But you absolutely should. So we did that for a while, and we were like, QR codes to get coupons, QR codes to get there was no adoption, so we kind of moved away from it over time. But we're in a very, I mean, fast forward 2-3 years, we're in a very different place right now, and you should. It's a great idea to try. I mean, I don't know how easy it is for you to rerun packaging, you know, but
It's not different.
Every time I was like, so on my way here, I was, you know, like had the cases, the glass products, like hot new products and everything. So I'll go through there. It's like cheating a little bit too, because I don't have to like walk. I still walk, but I'll go find some unique items. And every time I was taking a picture of something, the QR code thing would pop up. It was almost annoying because I went to go take a picture and it's like, well, this is popping up. So it's pulling up if there's QR codes on the front, even when I'm just trying to take pictures. So clearly it's starting to work.
You should put it in both places. I recommend. It's nice having it on the tag because that's what people see. And then when they get home, they don't have that shelf tag anymore unless they're stealing them. So now they come home and they get the product and they can interact again. You know, I mean, think about this. I gave you my code. Problem is, once you all leave, you don't have it anymore. Right, so there's a benefit in putting it on your package.
And think about it, you could say...
It's not Fresh Thyme, right? So like when I scan a QR code on the, you know, I mean, I hate to say it like this, but like you become a lifelong customer, you can still revisit that website without actually having to be in Fresh Thyme. It's not
We
just...
prefer you to do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it.
My second question is, would that QR code be the same across multiple retailers? Would it be the same QR code?
So I'm going to answer that. There's a yes and a no to that, and it's a great question. Thank you for that. And the question was, just because I know we're being recorded, is it the same code in every retailer? It's the same content. The code is slightly different so that when we do give you the analytics, I can tell you this was scanned in Fresh Thyme, this was scanned somewhere else, this was scanned on your package, this was on the sell sheet that you handed out at Expo, right? So that you can actually start measuring that. This was in a WholeFoods Magazine ad. So now you can start looking at the various
So can we
sources.
get QR codes from you?
Yeah.
put on our sell sheets?
Give me a call next week. I'll show you. Hit a little button and we give you campaign codes.
Scan that thing, you can get us information.
You can scan it, or you have my cell phone number. You can just give me a call. But yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you get.
Okay.
So and you only have to create it once, right? So if you had one SKU, you create that one code, but you might have 50 versions of it. So you automatically know where it's being scanned, but you're managing it once, which is nice and easy.
I really want to understand that perfectly. So we could get the code from you, and as long as we weren't using it for a different retailer than the one that we're using it with now, which is Fresh Thyme, we could use it in-house any way we want.
You can. In fact, we can give you another code so that you could have an in-house version of it. So you could put that on your packaging, you could put that on your sell sheets, so that way you could say, well, this is working at Fresh Thyme, and you know, as another retailer comes on board, everyone's going to have a different code scanning in all those. In fact, typically, if you ask us for your code, we're going to give you one that's slightly different than his, because we want you to be able to track what's happening at retail versus what you're using for your own purposes.
And if we chose to do it at another retailer,
Absolutely.
it would be a new purchase. and-
No, you pay once. Once you have a code, as many retailers as adopt it, you don't pay extra.
So until these retailers adopt it, what you could do is you could technically print a shelf talker, and you could have your reps go out to stores and just put those shelf talkers on all the other
I
stores.
don't know why that's just now going through my head.
It's also a good way to test it, right? Because you'd be able to see the feedback.
The only problem with us is I don't like shelf talkers. Well, I don't mind them. But someone that's in my company, they'll pull it, and then, you know, just like shippers, they always get moved around. So that's why.
Clean
They're
floor
great
plans.
on the tags, though. It's great on
Yeah, that's why it worked
Yeah.
out pretty nicely that we were able to do that. So that, again, that might be of all the things, I think that would be the tougher part. I didn't have to manage that, and from our pricing team and IT team, they said it was really easy. So again, you can put that out on, you know, if you're an independent store, you may not have all the access to tags or things that we do. It's a bigger tag, but you can put them out there. We just have the ability to put it on our tags.
We've even got brands now that are making their own shelf talkers, putting them in their packages when they're shipping them, so that when a store gets a case of whatever, there's a shelf talker. Some stores put them up, some stores don't. But what does it cost to ship out a shelf talker? Like a half a cent?
We do that.
Yeah, right. So put them out there. A smart retailer says, ooh, great way to educate, and they'll put them up. Some retailers say, I don't want to do that. But either way, it's so inexpensive to ship it that if, 1 in 10 put them up, it's profitable. So it's just another great way to do that and get that, because again, it's education. It makes sense that you're doing it. You want to
You
differentiate.
could also do it with stickers. It's just another idea, and then
Yeah.
they could just throw that sticker on the.
I like that.
But I mean, what we really want to push for is success, so that people want to be like Fresh Thyme, because then it makes our lives a whole lot easier.
And again, the more retailers that do it, then it's not me asking. Be like, hey, yeah, not mandatory, but it'd be great if you did it, because if I only have 10% of tags that have this, it's cool. It's going to make those 10% of items stand out, but then it's not giving the full information to everything to our customers. Like that's what we want. So we don't want it to be just the 1 out of 15 that stand out. It should be, if we put you on our shelves, we're proud of that product, right? We made the decision to, or the category manager made the decision to do that. So let's translate that story to the customers and to our team members.
And no matter where the education is obtained, whatever store or wherever, it's good for all of us.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because you got great stories, you got great products. You're pretty freaking cool, But we just have to get it out because you're competing against the big companies out there that are doing commercials. That it's just part of our business. It's the cycle of the business, and we have to go out. That's why we're here, is to go find new innovation. Because conventional stores are caught up. We gave them too much time with COVID. That the top products from 2 years ago are everywhere. And I'm not mad at that. That means more people are getting great products out there. But it doesn't help me. It doesn't help a person go into Fresh Thyme. So we have to go find that new next product, grow the next brand, so that we can then, build you up, and then you can go sell for $100 million to another company. And congratulations, I'll high five you. But then I'm looking for the next one to bring in.
If you do go to WholeFoodsMagazine.com, you will see a podcast. Actually, you'll see 2 podcasts on our website. One that is done by Dave and Jim that's kind of introduces them, and then you'll see another one with Dave and Jonathan as well. So you can get more information that way. And of course, don't forget to scan that ELI code right there to get more information. And otherwise, thank you all for coming.